Hello, my name is David Santiana, and today I'm making a video for Communications 3260 to talk about our assignment, digital storytelling for women of color. So this assignment is basically looking into Dr. Robin Boiler's um, workshop in which she invited women of color from around America to come and learn about making digital pieces in which they can express stories in kind of an audio visual format. So the purpose of the workshop was to help uh, these women kind of have a voice and empower them with a very powerful tool, which is the technology of our phones, our microphones, and the internet to put together extremely communicative pieces. And through telling multiple stories by colored women, uh, Dr. Robin Boylan was able to paint a general picture of the common experiences and hardships and joys that these women of color had, and it gave a more cohesive uh, idea and experience uh, and perspective to this community, and help them to be better understood. And again, it helped them to be empowered in a profound way to talk about their lives. So the first video that I watched was Not a Walking Color, which was done by Christina Hamlet, in which she talks about her experience going to school in the late 80s, and I believe in Virginia. And her experience sounds very normal. Going into it, it sounds like she was going to an overcrowded school that was underfunded, and the teacher was seemingly just trying her best in various ways to um, kind of connect with her students. And one of the ways that she tried to do that was by asking the three black students in their class to present to everybody their smile. And while this doesn't seem like it was a malicious thing on the teacher's perspective, it was a impactful for Christina in a negative way. Christina talks about how this experience made her feel objectified and analyzed in a negative way, and how she was diminished to being merely seen as walking colors, her and her fellow black students. And that was the extent to which the school system and her teacher and her fellow classmates saw her, was walking colors. Um, she goes on to recite a poem called I Am Not a Walking Color, in which she repeats the phrase um, over and over again to kind of claim this fact that she is not a walking color, and to uh, give herself room to express herself more, and give more depth to who she is. And that this became a very empowering thing for her, because even though when she went through this thing as a child, she was able to recover, and she was able to become successful and have a career and have a voice, even though she felt like she did not have a voice previously. And she talks about how she uses that voice to stand up for people who might be in her position. So this is really interesting, and it speaks to the experience of being given a voice, because while she is speaking up for people in disadvantageous positions, it just looks like she is a good person, but there is pain and trauma behind the reasoning why she does this. And this video presentation that she was able to make gave a powerful insight into why this experience was so painful for her. And it's fascinating because it's such a one-off thing. This is one comment that a teacher made in one class, and perhaps her fellow classmates don't remember this comment ever being made, but it became a defining moment for Christina to break this mold that she had been put in, and this presentation helped her to do so. The next one that I did was The Woman Who Raised Me by Tracy Dorsey. Tracy Dorsey starts off the presentation with a picture of her and someone who she calls her mother. She then goes into this small detail about her bow, which kind of leads the listener into getting comfortable into this is just a girl and her mother, talking about normal things such as outfit disputes and this and that, and then she goes on to expand and talk about things that you would have never known had she not been empowered with the medium of digital storytelling. She was able to talk about her real mother, who had abandoned her as a child, the life decisions that her real mother had made that formed the world that Tracy would grow up in, and the experience that Tracy had with her aunt, who was the person pictured at the beginning, who Tracy calls her mother. This is, I thought that this was really powerful because we just start out with a picture, which you might be able to see in a book or online, a picture of a girl and what looks like her mother, and then we are left with a much more expanded set of facts that paint this much more real world and more real people, and little details like how that was Tracy's last photograph with her aunt, and how much her aunt meant to her, and how her aunt formed her into who she became. So this again is another really powerful story that might not have been possible without the ability to put it into a medium that everybody can have access to, and something that she can expand on. And then the last video that I watched was A Little Black Girl's Magic by Lakeisha Harris. Lakeisha Harris talks about her experience growing up with an abusive father and living in a toxic environment with misogyny and domestic abuse, and how she would kind of confront that on a daily basis through her relationships with her siblings and her parents. and how that formed her into who she would eventually become, which she calls a black witch, which I love the embracement of the fantasy, because she talks about how as a child growing up she would escape into books and history and say that she is the pharaoh, and she would associate herself with these different people and different roles that society told her she could not inhabit. And so what could have just been somebody, like you see a t-shirt that says Black Witch University, like the picture that she put on her video, you might kind of laugh and be like, that's kind of cool, that's kind of quirky, I wonder what the story behind that is. Well, the story is deeply deeply painful and empowering for her to recount, and it's just it's very impressive. So for Lakeisha Harris, she is empowered to talk about these extremely difficult subjects, and kind of tell her life story and give the listener good insight as to how these things are dealt with. And she speaks about it with such bravery. So these are really interesting because it kind of just ties together this experience of the need to tell stories and the need to talk and to reach as many people as possible. And as Christina Hamlet said in her video, even if she's just shouting, screaming into a void, it wasn't for nothing, and she wasn't screaming about nothing. There was a purpose behind what she was yelling and working out. And when we are empowered to tell stories, we it is never for nothing, even because it can just be for us. And that's what I found really impactful about this